Man, I don't even know. I don't even know what that dance was. I don't know from whence that came.
We'll call it the gimme
Let's,
more.
yeah, come on, baby, give me more. Yeah, if you're joining us on a podcast, make sure you're popping over. Check out the YouTube stream later, or maybe you're watching live on twitch.tv/the Trident Network, which is happening right now. That's happening right now. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. This is I Love Improv with Trent Dozier. I am your titular host, Trent Dozier. Happy to be here once again on a Monday evening, about to do what I love more than anything in the world, and that's improv, baby. If you're joining us in the chat, why don't you go ahead and type in some hellos or some highs, either to myself or to our guiding light, our technical producer. Lord knows we could not do this show without her. It's Val Agnew. What's up,
What's
Val?
up, Trent? How you
Not
doing?
much. Go ahead.
I just said how you doing.
Chilling, feeling good. As you can see, if you're joining us live on twitch.tv slash the Trident Network right now, I am back in my parents' house because I was home this weekend because every every family unit on my dad's side of the family is either currently pregnant or just had a baby. So we're not there won't be a big Dozier family Christmas like there typically is, but we did a little Christmas in August, if you will. So
Special.
that's why the settings are as they are. And also, Val, how are you? Speaking of friggin' babies.
Trent outed me. Oh no.
No, I got permission. I was allowed to tell. I was allowed to tell all the fervent viewers and listeners of I Love Improv with Trent Dozier that our fearless leader, Val Agnew, is indeed pregnant. Yay! Congratulations, Val.
Thank you, sir.
And you said things are going well. Everything's feeling good in there.
Yeah, she's a wiggle worm, but otherwise, things are good.
A wiggle
Um,
worm, just
a
like your
wiggle
Uncle
worm.
Trent,
Yeah.
wiggling on the screen,
Yeah,
baby.
maybe she was doing the same move that you were just doing.
Yeah, she could probably hear the music and intuitively thought, like, "Oh, he's doing the gimme right now. Let me pop up, give it some gimmies." I got to assume, at least. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, no, no. That's exactly what happened. Like 100%.
Well, it's great news over here. I've actually known for a while, but now we're allowed to share. Also, a couple things I've known for a while, but keep forgetting to bring up is months ago at this point, we passed 1,000 downloads
That's
on
right.
number of downloads on the podcast half of I Love Improv with Trent Dozier. So if you are a person who exclusively listens or listens and watches, thank you. Thank you for downloading the podcast. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Of course, it's the same as it is on Twitch, except you don't get the beauty of seeing what my actual dance moves are. You have to build that out in your mind if you're purely a listener.
Yeah.
But I don't
Which
know. So
which
thanks
is
everyone. And then go
fun.
ahead.
I was just gonna say that's fun too. Like that's almost
Yeah.
improv of your mind.
Yeah, very strong point, Val. Wow, that's why we love Val, and that's why we love improv. Improv is everything, and so is Val. Also, I don't think we did anything to celebrate this. Maybe I'm wrong. Our we also passed our 2-year anniversary as a show, and I don't
What?
remember.
We definitely did not.
I'm pretty sure it was around the episode of Paul Tucker, who today's guest was actually on a team with Paul Tucker, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Well, happy
First, of course,
anniversary, Trent.
yes, and Val, happy anniversary to you. Mid-July is our anniversary, so we're about 6 weeks past.
Whoops.
But we'll we'll treat today's episode as our 2-year anniversary episode. And baby, we got a great guest on. But before we get to our guest, of course, we have to talk about the Trident Network. If you are watching us live on twitch.tv/the Trident Network right now, there is a purple subscribe button somewhere down here where I'm pointing. You can tap that button, and that will get you subscribed to the Trident Network on Twitch. Of course, I Love Improv with Trent Dozier is not the only Trident Network show that streams live on Twitch. And if you are subscribed to our Twitch channel, you will be notified anytime a Trident Network show is going live. So that's very helpful if you want to keep informed and you're bad at, keeping dates intact of what's happening when, of course. And also, subscribing to our channel allows you to use like the Trident specific emotes and whatnot. That's correct, right, Val? They're called emotes.
Correct. Yes, emotes.
Nailed it. Classic. Also, Trident wise, we got a brand new season of Dr. Raymond Pants Books on Tape on Demand. So check that out. That's a wild podcast. Val, why don't you tell us a little bit about the new season of Dr. Pants?
Yeah, so Dr. Pants, each of his books on tape on demand are a parody of classic literature, and this one is The Wizard of Oz. So, yes. So the first half of the book is already out, and the second half will be out this Friday.
Sweet. There's also a new episode coming out this week, I think, of I'm So Glad You Asked. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, on Thursday.
Would you like to tell us a little bit more about that as well, perhaps?
Sure. I'm So Glad You Asked is a storytelling/interview talk show podcast where host Mary Cruz just brings on different guests who've had different life experiences, and they basically just talk about it. But they're doing gangbusters. They're crushing it over there. So definitely worth a listen. They got like 100 downloads on their first episode in like 2 weeks.
Whoa, cool.
Yeah. So they're doing great.
They'll pass 1,000 downloads a lot faster than we did.
Well, you're spreading out your interactions across 3 platforms, Trent. So
yes, that's true. Thanks, Val. A strong point. Speaking of crushing it, the Val Agnew directed improv show, the Improvised DCOM over at IO. If you're in Chicago, their run has been extended through the end of the year. Woo! Congrats, Val. Again, everything's coming up. Val, yeah, baby.
Yeah, no, it's exciting.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, yeah. I was just saying it's exciting.
If you want to check that out, if you're in Chicago anytime between now and the end of the year, it is Fridays at IO, 7 p.m., I believe, correct?
It's 8 p.m. until the end of September, and then starting in October, it'll be at 7 p.m.
7 p.m. Mm-hmm. Great. So 8 p.m. through September, 7 p.m. Starting in October, always on Fridays. Mm-hmm. Check it out. And then also, speaking of DCOMs, you might have noticed that D-Commentaries and Pop Culture Period Piece and Anjali Vision, 3 podcasts that we actually talk a lot about on our show, I feel like. All 3 of those shows right now are on hiatus, showing support for the SAG-AFTRA strike and the WGA Writers Guild strike. Val, would you like to touch on that a little bit, and then we'll get into the improv?
Sure. So basically, those 3 podcasts are the ones that sort of talk specifically about content that is available on the streaming platforms that the strike is in direct opposition to. And so we felt like we should probably take a break to, not encourage more viewers on those platforms. So we're just, on hiatus for right now. We're obviously all hoping that the studios come back to the table with reasonable expectations sometime soon so that we can get back to what we love doing. And so that all the writers and actors can get back to what they love doing. But in the meantime, all 3 shows have back catalogs that you can listen to support them while they're on a break. So please do check them out. Especially, Anjali Vision's been around a little bit less time, but like Pop Culture Period Piece and D-Commentaries both have pretty extensive back catalogs. So there's plenty to listen to in them all.
Yeah, agreed. And like, if you're like speaking to D-Commentaries specifically, if you enjoy watching the movies before watching the episodes where Val and Al talk about those specific movies and you don't want to watch them because you don't want to support the streaming platform, Val and Al have like 3-4 episodes up there that are interviews with different people in the decom world. Like, go back and listen to those, because I've told Val this privately, but like, those interviews are all great and really phenomenal. And, it is so great to listen to you and Al, two creatives, talking to these other creatives. And like, I don't know, those are just really, I've told Val all this. They're really great conversations that I think you and Al both do a great job with. And I get a lot out of those episodes. So,
thanks, Val.
go support all those podcasts in any way you can. And of course, support the strikes. All right. I think that's enough of that. Should we get into the improv or what?
Please, let's do it.
Oh, yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. This week's guest. Ooh, baby. This week's guest. This man is joy in human form. He is happiness. He is light. He is wild. He is the Wolf Lord. I cannot wait to do a little improv with him right now. If you're in the chat, please say what's up to this week's guest, William Woods.
What's up?
What's up, Will?
Let's hear it, chat. Let's hear it, chat. If you're not in the chat right now, you need to take a look in the mirror. All right, you need to take a look in the mirror, and you need to ask yourself: are you really who you thought you'd be? Is young 5-year-old Johnny with his kindergarten dreams happy? Is he proud of his adult self? That's the question. If you're not in the chat, that's the question you need to ask yourself in the mirror. But if you are in the chat, guess what? You don't have to do any of that.
Yeah, baby. You know exactly who you are if you're in the chat.
That's right. You know exactly who you are. You're damn right.
William, that was great. I'm so happy you're here.
Thanks for having me. You and Val, thank you so much for having me on the pod. I'm loving it already.
Me and Will were on a team together, which we have actually talked about on this show quite a few times. And the most recent guest of the podcast was also on that team with us, Dan Karambulis. It was our Herald team at IO called Slice. We've had some other slicers on the pod, as we talked about that last episode too. But Will is like, truly one of my favorite improvisers of all time. We started in class together. We were in the same cohort or whatever at IO. And I don't know if we ever actually had a class together, but our graduation was at the same time. And watching Will perform, I was like, oh, baby, I hope I get to be on a team with him. And they did put me on a team with him. It took like another 2 years or whatever, but eventually the powers that be were like, yeah, it's time. We got to put Trent and Will on the team together. So, William, thank you, my boy, for being here. I love doing improv with you, and I'm excited to get to do some with you today.
Pleasure's all mine. I'm just so happy to be here.
Yes. Okay. I'm very excited for everyone to get to feel the energy that is William Woods. Of course, here at I Love Improv with Trent Dozier, we need a suggestion in order to do improv. But of course, if you're familiar with the show, you know the spiel I'm about to get into. But if not, two things. First off, here at I Love Improv with Trent Dozier, any suggestion is a great suggestion. But we like something a little more specific, a little thicker, meatier, a lot of meat on that bone, as they say. For example, instead of the suggestion of calendar, we would like something like Trent and Will are two firefighters who are shooting the end of the year calendar, and they are arguing about which one of them should be the cover model, and both of them are legally colorblind, something like that, something with a lot of meat on the bone, as I said. Now, if you have seen Will perform before, and maybe if you've seen myself perform before, you might think to yourself, you know exactly what type of character you want to see these two guys do, or what type of scene you want to see these guys do. And that's great. If you're ready, start firing off your suggestions right away in the chat if you want to. If you've never seen William perform, though, I am about to tell Will what I love about him as an improviser, and probably as a person too. And that mayhaps inform you, the viewer, the listener, what type of character or scene you want to see from Will. So with all that being said, Will, are you ready to sit there and accept compliments from your
Oh
friend?
man, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try.
Well, you have no choice. I'm gonna compliment you. Okay, like I said, you are truly one of my favorite improvisers to watch, and I've said this on the show many times before, but I really feel like who you are as a human bleeds into who you are as an improviser, and I feel like that's very applicable with you on stage. You're high energy and happy and like love like getting everybody involved, and I feel like that's exactly like you off stage too. I think I knew you as a performer for a lot longer before you and I were actually friends and like developed our relationship off stage, and it was just like so wonderful to me to see you off stage are just like exactly who you are on stage, which is just pure goodness. You are like a dog who's just been let outside for the first time, and you're like, oh my God, I want to check out everything. Let's see what's going on. I'm so excited. And that energy that you bring to both life and to the stage is just like so infectious. Like I said, we were never in class together, but watching Will in our graduation shows, I was like, oh, I cannot wait to be on a team with Will, because I thought it was going to be a no-brainer that Will's going to be on a team, I was going to be on a team, and we are going to get to play together forever. And I was so overjoyed when that finally came to fruition, because like I said, watching you on stage, I'm like, that's someone who I want to play with. That's someone who has unbridled joy. That's someone who understands that we're a bunch of adults out here playing make believe for no money. It should be loose and fun and happy. And like that shines through anytime I'm doing really anything with you, but definitely improv. And then in addition to like just liking you as an improviser and as a human, I alluded to this a little bit, but being on a team with you was even better because you're an incredible teammate, just like you're an incredible friend. I felt like you were always trying to make sure everybody on the team was comfortable and trying to like lift up everybody's voices and make sure everybody felt good and heard and seen and like, but also like happy and having fun and performing and just like enjoying their time being there. You know, when you're at IO and you're like in the system, so to speak, there was a lot of talk always of like people ahead of you who are like, oh, Herald teams are not that fun. And then you get on a Herald team and you're like, oh man, this isn't that fun. I didn't get to pick who I wanted to be with. And I didn't feel that way about Slice, because while we didn't like get to pick who we were on the team with, you know, a lot of people had the attitude that you had, which was like, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be playing with all of you. And so I love that. I love like I said, I love being around you off stage. I relish any opportunity I get to play with my boy William Woods on stage. And then specifically as an improviser, you play larger than life, which is so fun, and I love getting to deal with that. And I mean like deal with that. Sometimes you know exactly where Will's going in a scene, and sometimes it's an absolute curveball and you're like, "Oh my God, how are we handling this?" But that sense of like excitement and like almost like a positively connotation of danger is like really fun to like, oh, I like feel it now. I'm really anticipating being able to play with you right now. Okay, that's enough. I'll cut it off there. I love William Woods. How was all that? Too much? Not enough? How are you feeling over there?
Oh God, it was so much, and it just means a lot to me. I've just always been such a huge admirer of your work, Trent. So it's uh to watch, well, one, such an honor to be on a team with you, because going back to your point where I'm gonna throw curveballs out there, not because I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna throw a curveball out there, but in my head, my A to B or my A to C might be to other people's like A to X.
Yeah.
and and so it's never like with like malice or like trying to be like, ooh, this
Yeah.
will be random. But it is like in my head, I'm like, yeah, this people will understand this.
Yeah.
And then to have someone like you on my team that can connect the dots so seamlessly, whether you're fully aware of the A to C move or what. It was
Yeah.
just, yeah, it was just amazing. And it did become like really fun in those shows where it was like, how could Trent possibly string this together, and you did. So always, it was incredible.
Well, Slice was a very fun team. There were a lot of great people on it, you and me included.
Oh yeah, so much fun.
Val, how are we looking? How are we looking suggestion wise? Also, if you are now that completes the compliment portion. If you're waiting for that to end to put your suggestion into the chat, feel free to throw your suggestion into the chat. Also, that's the compliment portion now. I'm sure there will be more compliments later after the scene, because like I said, I love playing with Will and I'm giddy that I'm about to get to do it. Val, how
Yes.
are we looking?
Well, we have a little bit of a shy chat today.
Been here before.
Yeah, we've been
Yeah,
here.
that's pretty normal, I would say. Like I think most times people in the chat, they get really intimidated by me saying those things. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, totally.
Yeah.
They found out it
Yeah,
was
Will
you,
scared
and
everybody
they
off
were-
at the
yeah.
beginning.
yeah, sorry I scared everybody off.
No, it's okay. This is why we have 3 platforms.
Mhm.
So I have a suggestion if you want to take that.
Val, I would love to take
Yeah,
a suggestion from
that
you.
would be such an honor.
Okay.
No one
Really.
sets up a scene like
Okay.
mother to be Val Agnew.
Well, thank you. Okay, here's my suggestion. Trent and Will are cousins at a family Christmas gathering. They are in their teens. I'll let you decide where in your teens. And they have not seen each other in a few years. So they obviously know each other, but they have not seen each other for a while.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you, Val.
Love it. Been there.
All right. Time is on the clock.
All right.
See you on the other side.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, you want to see something really sick?
Yeah. Well, is it like sick like cool or sick like gross?
No, it's cool. It's honestly really cool.
Okay.
Let me just get this. It's a photo I have in my wallet, actually.
Whoa, you have a
Yeah.
wallet? My mom said I'm still too young to have a wallet.
Dude, I know. So does mine, but just don't tell her, because like she'll freak. But like you're cool. I already know that you're cool. So
No, I am. I
Yeah.
am cool.
so I'm not like showing Anna or Claire this stuff either. Like you're the only cousin I can really like show this to, because I know you're cool.
Thank you.
But check out this pic of a girl that I went on a date with.
The heck?
Yeah. We we hit a home run.
You hit a home run?
Yeah, we hit a home run together. She kissed me on the cheek. Yeah, when we were watching Django Unchained.
I'm not even allowed to watch Django Unchained.
Yeah, I know. We bought tickets. We bought tickets to the new Ninja Turtles movie. We saw Django Unchained. Yeah.
Damn.
But you're cool though, right?
No, yeah, I'm cool. So is this like is she a princess at Disneyland, or is this just a Cinderella costume that she was wearing?
Oh, yeah, I think she just likes to wear those. It's kind of Mark was saying that too, that it's just kind of a resemblance to like Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty and stuff. And I was like, I don't see it, but yeah, she's very pretty. But yeah, I don't necessarily see it. I get that like the blue dress and like the hair done up like that, and
she had the little crown,
little kids around or whatever posing with
little
the picture.
poof on her.
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, I think that she's just cool like that. So
she just walks around like that, you mean?
I mean, yeah, like everybody. She's like got cool fashion like that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
a thing that I heard on a TikTok recently is that fashion is cyclical, so it all comes back around. So you know how like
Is that what cyclical means?
Yeah, I think like
Seriously.
it's a circle.
Cyclical.
Cyclical.
Alexa, what does cyclical mean? Alexa, what does cyclical mean? Oh my God. See, I should have just trusted you on that.
That's okay. That's okay. My admittedly,
Whoa.
my marks in English and literature right now are pretty low,
Oh.
but that's kind of by choice and not because I'm stupid.
No, Johnny, look, and you know I've always meant this about you, but you are the next Steve Jobs. Like you're no matter what you do in school, it's not going to be enough for what you're going to do for the world. So who cares about your marks or whatever it is? Like we all know that state testing is a total scam, total scam.
Total
Like I told
scam.
you that I got put in readers because
Mm-hmm.
I just randomly bubbled in every single letter on the
Mm-hmm.
Scantron. And
Yeah.
then I'm stuck in readers class because they were like, "You don't know how to read. You scored so badly on this state test that you're stuck in readers class." And I said, "Okay, let me take a test to get out of there." And then so I took the test to get out of there and they said, "Okay, you did technically pass this test, but you did so bad." And but I will say that actually, you know what? I am now kind of reading at a little bit higher of a level, so it's not a big
That's
deal.
good. I don't tell my mom this or your mom, but
Dude, no way. I don't say shit to my mom. I don't even talk to her anymore.
good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm not surprised. I've been having trouble talking to my mom too, so I'm not surprised that both of them are hard to talk to because they're sisters. So, but I've been watching some Rick and Morty when my mom goes to bed.
Dude,
And
Pickle Rick, dude. Pickle
yeah,
Rick.
Pickle Rick,
Oh my
dude.
god, dude.
Oh, Pickle
Dude.
Rick. Wish
Dude.
Pickle Rick.
Oh my god, dude.
But one thing that Rick says all the time on the show is that school is actually for dumb people. You don't need school if you're smart. So I think maybe like I think we both might be so dumb that we're smart. You know what I mean? And we're just like we're too dumb for standardized testing because we're too smart. Just like Rick, just like Pickle Rick, you know?
That's incredible. And I didn't know that that's what the show is about. I've only just seen like clips and stuff like that on YouTube because yeah, if I got caught watching Rick and Morty, methinks I would be in big trouble.
Methinks that would not be good for my favorite
Um,
cousin. Thinks it would be a
methinks I
bad
might get grounded.
situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't want to see my
Um,
boy getting grounded.
no, straight up, my mom has gotten really crazy with the bottle lately, and she's just like drinking so much.
Oh no. Is she doing okay? Like,
Oh no, she's doing good, but she started doing like this thing where she meditates and then connects to the ghosts in her house because you know about like Peter and Paul and how they're like these brothers that like were born in the house, they died in the
mhm.
house, and they're just like they're chill ghosts.
Yes.
But my mom's been doing like she'll do scribble writing where like Peter will like tell her what to write and Paul, but that we already know their story, right? You know it.
Yes. I've
But
been
now
over.
there's now these all these other spirits, and let me tell you, she's like drinking 1 or 2 cans of White Claw a day, and I'm like, "Mom, oh my god, you are wasted." Like, you know?
Okay, that actually does answer some questions because my mom's been walking around the house recently, just kind of like under her breath, being like, a bunch of Ouija board haunted mansion bullshit over there. And it's usually
Oh,
after she's on a call with your mom. So I think that's to me, that seems like it's all related. Like,
it is.
my mom's not very spiritual. She doesn't believe in all that type of stuff like your mom does. And I think that's kind of like the biggest kind of like the biggest battle between them as siblings. So I don't know. I believe. I mean, I can't deny the Peter and Paul story at this point. I've seen it happen. I've been at the house and I've seen them. So I
And
don't know,
honestly, they're
but
so cool. Like, they're amazing, and, like, I just wish I could show them Rick and Morty because I feel like they would
yeah,
absolutely love it.
my
But
gosh,
yeah,
I think they would.
I'm not trying to risk, ruining my summer.
No,
I'm not trying to get grounded for spring breaks and stuff because
no.
that would happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you planning on being sent to camp again this summer?
Yes, oh my god, I was
S-
just gonna yes, I'm gonna well, so this year I'm finally old enough to be a co-counselor, so I'm applying,
What?
and yeah, I
You
think
so
I'm
you won't
actually
be in
in
the same. you won't be in the same bunk as me anymore?
I thought, oh my God, she lied to me. She said, oh my God. Holy smokes. Claire said that you weren't doing camp anymore.
No, I didn't. I said that I don't want to do it anymore, but then my mom said that you were going, and I was like, well, if Barry's freaking going, I'll go. And then she was also like, I don't care if Barry's going or not. You don't get a choice. You're going. And I was like, well, if Barry's going, I'm going. So I ultimately am the one who did decide to go, regardless of what
Yeah.
she says.
Holy smokes. I
But
will.
I'm
Oh,
going.
look, yeah, no, absolutely. I will evoke my application because I don't want that power dynamic to come between us because we've seen what happens when you have friends, cousins, brother and sister, brothers, all sorts of
Yeah,
different people that have a great they got a good relationship, and then there's a lot of power that comes with being a co-counselor. There's a
I
ton of
know.
power,
I
and
know.
frankly, I was just kind of like applying because this this gal that I did go on a date with once, she seemed like she would be impressed by it. So I was thinking if I did this, then maybe she would um, want to go on a second date.
What about Cinderella?
That's who I'm talking about.
That's
Well,
her?
well, her name's not Cinderella,
Yeah.
but yeah, I get I get how you see I understand the crown, the glass slippers, the blue dress, the little
Hmm.
Mickey Mouse sign in the background, and the
The woodland
castle,
critters
and
around her.
the woodland critters around her, and the little kids posing with her at seemingly at a Disney place. I get how that
Yeah.
shows
Yeah.
people like, oh, this is Cinderella, and I'm like, no, this is like actually the girl of my like. This is actually a very not just a girl of my dreams, but a girl that I would be interested in. If they would want to, continue a relationship. And she kissed me on the
Yeah.
cheek at Django Unchained.
Yeah. She's like the girl of your reality, if you think about it that way.
Yeah. And I will
Dream
I
come
will say
true.
this that when we did hit a home run and she kissed me on the cheek during Django Unchained, that it felt like my reality bent. And
Oh, just like in Doctor Strange.
just like in Doctor Strange, I definitely saw sparks and I felt like the multiverse was expanding
Oh
and
my God.
contracting all at once. And yeah, I was like, "Oh, this is what Peter and Paul were talking about in the Paranormal Activity. This is what Ancient Aliens on the History Channel is talking about.
Yeah.
This is what David Attenborough's talking about on that new Apple Plus dinosaur show."
Yeah. All those shows are about love. I don't want I don't want you to not be a counselor and potentially derail the rest of your life just because you're like 1 year older than me. And I don't want, I won't
9
let that,
months.
well, one
Same
grade
school.
older.
Yeah, yeah, same. I would say because you're technically your your school system does the quarters. So
Hmm.
technically we're in the same
In
grade
the same.
because yeah,
Yeah.
you're it doesn't quite work out that same way where you get like early release and like you get like
Yeah.
late start and stuff because you're in one of
Hmm.
those advanced schools.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, I think I don't want to be the reason that your perfect life gets knocked off the tracks so early. And I won't I'll keep in mind that any bad thing you do to me at camp is not because of the power dynamic. It's just, or maybe it is because of the power dynamic, but it's not. That's not who Barry is. That's not who my cousin Barry is. And I know that ultimately you're chasing a bigger goal. You're chasing that higher love, like Steve Winwood would sing about. Think about it. There
There
must
must
be
be
higher
higher
love.
love.
Yeah,
Friday
exactly.
night of Friday in the
Sing
stars above.
out above. Without
Without
it,
it,
we're just
just wasting.
wasting time.
John, seriously though, and I mean this with all my heart, my life,
Yeah.
I've been like absolutely scared shitless about this co-counselor position because I really feel like, on a good day, I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, I'm all for it. But I get so scared thinking about the responsibilities and I just think that knowing I didn't have anything to lose by applying for it, but now that I know that you'd be at camp, we'd be in the
Mhm.
same bunk, there's just no way I could be co-counselor.
Very.
What am I supposed to do when we do all the pranks? I can't do the pranks. I have to sit by and I just have to pretend they're not there because that's the kind of counselor I'd be. I'm not going to be authoritative
I get
and
it.
say you can't do it, but then I can't join in.
I know. It's hard because you, much like Rick Sanchez, are a free thinker and you want to live that lifestyle. But the only reason that Rick got sent on this path is because his wife died. And
Oh my
now he's off
what?
doing adventures. So you don't want your wife to die before you even get to date her, so to speak. You know what I mean?
I
I
had
think
no
you
idea
gotta
that
believe in
show
you
was
gotta
about.
believe in yourself, like Pickle Rick believes in himself.
Oh my god. And also, like, the fact that we could be sharing the same bunk and you could just be walking through the synopsis of every single episode
Yeah,
and tell me what oh, that would be amazing.
I can tell you everything. I've seen every episode.
Oh my god. That's
I got it.
amazing.
I
You're sitting on a gold mine of knowledge.
Yeah, and
You're
I
sitting
I
on a gold
remember
mine.
everything.
Oh my god.
I could tell you each thing, and then you could. Okay, okay, hear me out. Hear me out. You know the book. You know the book Cyrano that we were assigned to read in school. He's like an ugly guy, but he's
You're
got a
talking
way
about
with
Maniac McGee. You're talking about Maniac McGee.
maybe
Yeah.
it's the
Split
one where
side of town, split in half, Mars bars, big giant knot, Philadelphia.
no, no, no. I'm talking about it's the one where Cyrano is like an ugly guy, but a pretty guy is in love with another girl. But Cyrano's
Been there.
ugly. Yeah,
Been
Cyrano's an
there.
ugly guy, but he has the tongue of a fox in a good way, like a sexy fox. He's got a silver tongue. And so he
Oh,
tells
wow.
the hot guy what to say to the girl, and then the girl falls in love with the hot guy. But then when Cyrano's not around anymore, then he talks like an idiot because he's dumb. Anyway, all this is a long way of saying I can tell you what happened in each Rick and Morty episode, and then you can use that to woo Cinderella during camp.
Oh my god.
I
This
mean, honestly, not even that you would need much more wooing. You guys have already homered together, so
methinks that this is actually a brilliant idea.
I just
Holy smoke. This is what I'm talking about, the Steve Jobs stuff. This you're
yeah,
not all of this time and energy we're never going to have as much energy as we do now in our youth.
yeah.
And you're spending all of this time locked in it. The school system is a prison. I mean, what's his face? The one of the freaking Monopoly guys that invented the railroad. You know what I'm talking about?
The guy with the
Mr.
hat, the top hat,
Big Top Hat, Mr. Barron, Steel Railroad, Monopoly guy.
got a monocle.
He invented schools so that by the time kids were ready to graduate schools, they could just join the workforce immediately.
What?
Yes, I'm telling you, it's a waste of time.
And I'm telling you, that's what Rick says.
I feel like see, this is probably what my mom's thinking about with religion and spirituality stuff because right now, everything that she talks about being connected to spirit guides and stuff, I feel like Rick Sanchez might be like a spirit guide for me. And you're the medium that can connect us.
Yes, I will talk to Rick. No, Rick will talk to you, but through me, through my knowledge of secretly watching every episode of Rick and Morty,
Oh
I'll
my
be
god.
able I'll be able to get Rick Sanchez speaking from my mind to you, and then the world is yours.
So I have something to ask you, but I don't know if you're going to be okay with it. And it's okay to say no. Like,
Okay.
really, I'm serious.
Okay. You can ask
But
me anything.
you know how I have that drone
Yes.
and it can record video?
Okay.
Could I give you my drone and you could record like the whole first season of Rick and Morty on the drone and then we can watch it back together?
Do you have the drone with you right now?
Yeah. Oh, I got it right now. It's in my dad's trunk.
Meet me out back in 10 minutes. Act like we haven't talked. Bring the drone.
Amazing.
Operation Pickle Rick.
Incredible.
Mm. Okay,
Oh.
I'm gonna go get some of these pizza rolls. I'll see you outside in 10.
Oh. Hey, did she make the gluten-free ones?
Yeah,
she make
you
the
know
gluten-free
it. We
ones?
got every flavor of pizza roll.
Oh. Snag me some. Snag me some. Pop some in your pockets.
Okay, I'll see you out front in 10. That's the scene. Oh, oh my God,
man.
that's so funny.
I love
Okay.
living in that reality.
Yeah.
Yes, I love. Oh, go ahead, Val. Sorry, I
Oh,
cut
I was
you
just
off.
gonna. I was gonna agree, like very fervently. Like that was one of those cool ones that comes up every once in a while, where it's not like a laugh a minute scene, but it feels
Mhm.
so real.
Yeah.
And it's like genuinely funny, but like in a really authentic feeling way. Like I don't know, I could
Yes.
have watched that for like 2 hours. It was so fun.
I I love playing with both Will and Dan, who was our previous guest. I think the three of us connected so strongly and so immediately on Slice as teammates and as friends because I feel like, and Will, maybe you feel differently or the same. But I feel like the three of us really value the same things, both on stage and off stage. And like, I think on stage, all three of us, like the scene that I did with Dan last week felt kind of very similar in tone almost. Cause I think because we were, like preteens and that also, but just the kind of like, the fun, like, ooh, let's make a plan. We're being mischievous. But really, they're just like these idiot kids, who don't know anything. But because they're so young and they don't have like all this world experience, like everything to them is like, this is the most important thing that's ever happened because they're like 14. So nothing's ever happened to them. So every moment is like the biggest moment. And I loved what you said too, Will. I loved like just sitting in that world was so fun and like feeling these two cousins interact. I felt like you could tell that the two cousins like had the same value system. They love each other. They love hanging out with each other. And maybe they don't get to see each other all the time, but when they do, it's just like falling right back into that routine. And they are like, they might be, I kind of got the vibe like they're maybe the only two boy cousins and all the other cousins are, or maybe that not even the only two boy cousins, but the only two cousins that are interested in the same thing. And everybody else is off like doing stuff that they all agree on. And Barry and Johnny are just like these two guys who are like, okay, but what if we did this thing that only the two of us like?
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost questioned like whether to make you kids because I feel like you've been playing a lot of kids lately, but I just
Play a good kid.
I just wanted to see what would happen, kind of what you were talking about, like where playing a kid, you're like very unfiltered and everything is really amplified, and like
Yeah.
at the way that you described Will as an improviser and also the way you just described the way you play with each other, I thought that would be a good environment for that, and it proved to be correct.
I agree. What did you feel, Will? Have you done a lot of have you I was talking to Dan, our friend who did last month, and he was like, I realized that I hadn't done a lot of Zoom improv, and that's why a little behind the curtain pre coming live, I was saying to Will, I was like, don't worry about like, feeling like you gotta, be physical or worried about like how it's like coming across on the podcast versus how it's coming across on the Twitch. It didn't seem like any of that was affecting you. Were you thinking about any of that while you were in it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel very comfortable with like just the audio idea of it, you know?
Yeah.
And but yeah, when you think about like ways to sort of like cross the barrier of like the screen and everything, it obviously like it is a little tricky, and I'm so
hmm
open to like how could you explore that
Yeah.
frontier, you know? But yeah, it's certainly like it is interesting for me because I do love my physicality and like just
Yeah.
moving around on stage, but to just have to like sit still and just be like, "Oh, here we are," is definitely it's always a challenge, but I
Yeah.
loved it this time.
Well, I think that's a thing that is uh physicality is a strength of you and me and Dan as improvisers. And in this environment, it is harder to like have that come across. I mean, especially if you're a podcast listener, there is no visual elements. And then watching on the Twitch stream live or watching us on YouTube later after the fact, um, there, it's even still harder to come across because we're in two different places, and like we passed the picture back and forth, which you were able to see if you watch this, and then I feel like this was not the first scene that I've done that ended with a freaking
Yeah.
predator style handshake. But it's harder to like convey the physicality, especially when it is, like I said, such a big tool in all of our tool belts. But I also feel like I have I've enjoyed doing the show over the last 2 years. Happy anniversary, everybody. I've enjoyed doing the show because it has pushed me. I don't want to say like physicality is a crutch for me because I
Mhm.
don't think that it is. I think I use it well, I guess. But this has, pushed me to be an improviser in different ways and not kind of lean on my go-to moves, so to speak.
Oh, totally. And I do feel like even with the less physicality there is, it's so much easier to dive into the emotional depth of the scene and to like really connect with the your scene partner, which makes it
Yeah.
amazing. You know, it's like how often on stage when you have so many different variables do you get to that point? And I feel like some improvisers are extremely good at that, and then some
Yeah.
improvisers, including myself, don't always see the opportunity for what it is and will, start to like kind of go after all of the different aspects of the scene rather than just the scene partner in front of them. So
Yeah.
I think that this actually allows you to really focus in on that. And that's why it was like, this is just me and you, and we're these cousins, and we're setting life up the way that we want it. And it just felt like, oh, you just build and build and build. And yeah. And therefore it just felt so easy. And I could go on forever and ever.
Hey, you're allowed to. You're allowed to go on as long as you want. I agree though. Like I feel like that's the beauty of this format is it allows us to get more to the emotionality of the scenes more directly, more quickly, and in some ways like a lot easier that way. And focusing not so much on just like, oh look at look, I'm dancing or whatever, like me at the start of the show. And
The gimme some
it's
mores.
yeah, give me more, baby. It's just easier because also like thinking about it too, I guess like there are I think I've done more like emotion based scenes over the last 2 years through this show than I probably have, in my whole like on stage improv career.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I feel like on stage you're so creative where it's like you have and it was so amazing to watch you perform and well, to always watch you perform, but to be on a team with you because there's like all of, as a student of improv, and Val, I'm sure you get this too, where especially since you're directing, um, you have sort of not necessarily the rules of improv, but the template of like, this is how these scenes go. And,
Yeah.
it's like stay away from transactional scenes and, in this kind of thing. And it's not very often that you see teams or specific players break those barriers and create something completely new all for themselves. And I feel like Trent, you're constantly pushing the envelope of like what can this be done. I mean, the amount of like slight I've never seen it before, but sure enough, there we were playing on Slice, and then it's like you're using the piano player, the music accompanist's piano, as your improvised piano
Yeah.
to play as a music accompanist. Like it's just yeah, like always pushing the envelope, and it's just amazing. And I don't remember what my point was, but it's there. Yeah,
Sometimes
it's there.
yeah, I think I'm picking up what you're saying. So like when you're on stage, you can literally do anything, and Trent's really good at that. But sometimes constraints can be the like foundation of creativity in a different way.
Yeah.
And like this format is very constrained in a number of different ways. There's only two improvisers, maybe three. There's a very detailed suggestion, and you're obviously in this medium, right? So all
Yeah.
three of those things like add limiters on, but then that forces a different kind of creativity that maybe
Oh
you
yeah.
wouldn't utilize if you're on stage,
Yeah.
because there's 800 other things that you could be doing when you're on stage, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a
Yeah.
brilliant catalyst for like really fun scenes. I mean, this felt so easy because there was well, one, the suggestion did a ton of work, which is just amazing.
Val,
Um,
thank you.
yeah, incredible suggestion. And two, it's just like, oh, well, I don't need to worry about my, object work, or as the
Yeah.
groundlings call it, they call it space work, which is a cool name, but also, F the groundlings. It's a weird thing that I'm very mad at. I'm very mad at them. I don't like the theater very much. So, but they call it space work, and it always has to be on the fourth wall. Space work is always on the fourth wall. And it's like such
Interesting.
Oh,
a isn't that weird?
I
Where,
just
you're like, put it everywhere. And like some of the best scenes
yes.
are when somebody's not even facing the audience.
Right.
That shit's
Yes.
hilarious.
Right.
Yes, I was just talking about that the other day where I feel like I oftentimes find myself with my back to the audience because I'm so much more worried about like connecting with my scene partner on a real level as opposed to being like, and does the stage picture look okay? And like
Yeah.
worrying about, like presenting myself because ultimately it's probably funnier if my straight up whole body is turned backwards to the audience. And I know that I'm backwards to them and they know
Yeah.
that I know I'm backwards to them. So then we get to, we get to play with it. I love like any show. I love like whether your team is 2 people or 10 people, you can always add one extra number to that because the audience is your third teammate or 11th teammate or whatever. And it's like and like if there's a piano player, that's another teammate that I'm going to play with. You're totally right. If there's an environment, I will eat up all of it. I also like first of all, thank you, Will, for all the nice things that you said. I would agree with you that I am very much a like a piece player, whether it's a 10-person Herald or a full two-prov show. But I love doing I Love Improv with Trent Dozier because, well, first of all, I love improv. But secondly, because it almost forces me to do only scenes and focus more on the individual connection instead of trying to be like how can we make this work later or how can we like bring it all around, how can we make it cyclical. Oh, that's a callback, that's a herald, that's how it's done. But yeah, this medium is strange and weird but fun and challenging, and I love the way that it pushes me, and I love that it gives me the opportunity to have a little one-on-one time with improvisers I love, like William Woods.
Too nice.
All right. Well, we have hit the top of the hour, or we're about to hit the top of the hour. We have hit the top of the hour.
There it
And
is.
so we'll
Oh,
start
there it is. We hit the top.
we'll start to wrap it up here. First off, William is one of the hosts of the Certified Cinephiles podcast where they talk about movies. It's
We
a
don't just
real
talk about
fun.
movies, and let me be clear. We talk about the evil, absolutely disgusting acts of the studios and why they
Yes.
took some of the world's best films and decided to give them terrible reviews. It's important.
Nothing.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but it is important to talk about it on the same podcast as people fighting the good fight against
Yes.
these truck companies.
I was talking to somebody about this will date this podcast for all of eternity. But I was talking to someone about the new comedy dog movie Strays, which I have not seen yet, but am literally about to see after this. And one of my friends who incorrectly, in my opinion, lives and dies by Rotten Tomatoes was like, oh, well, Strays has a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes, so there's no way that this is going to be good. And I was like, all right, what are your favorite comedies? And so we looked up Semi-Pro, a great Will Ferrell joint that has 33% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Can't have a good
Step Brothers, my favorite movie of all time, has something like 48% as well. It's just like critics don't understand comedy. They barely understand dramas. So, we're all out here fighting the good fight, much like William is.
I will say about Strays, because I did see it also.
Oh,
I saw
no spoilers.
I saw it for research. I just saw it for research reasons of like, what are they up to? And I will say that it is one of my favorite movies of all time. And it is terrible. It is such a dumb, stupid fucking piece of shit of a movie. But it is so amazing and hilarious and smart at the same time.
Wow.
And therefore I would give it 100% rotten. I would give it 100 rotten of those tomatoes.
Wow.
And baby, that's coming from a certified cinephile.
Yeah. But
So
yeah, the critics are absolutely going to rip that thing to shreds because
I'm sure.
When you see it, you're like, this movie is dog shit. Pun intended, well,
pun
that's
intended.
Not a pun, but
he's a professional.
But it is so good and funny at the same time, and they know what they're doing. Like, it's not like they made that movie thinking,
yeah,
oh yeah, they knew how dumb it was going to be, and they just absolutely embraced it, and therefore I'm like, this is incredible. This is absolutely incredible. But yeah, it's what Paramount does it and Universal
Strays?
maybe.
I'm not sure. I'll know in about an hour when I see it.
I'm supporting AMC. That's what I'm supporting.
AMC's great.
They don't. You know what? Movie theaters don't even make any money off of the movie tickets. Did you guys know that?
That's why I'm an A-lister.
Yeah.
Well, I always
gotta be AMC A-list. Yeah.
Yeah.
I buy
there
snacks
you go.
for sure.
Because the multi-millionaire, $1 million AMC, they need our help.
Okay. Well, check out Will's Certified Cinephiles podcast. Season 3 is in the works right now. Will, thank you so much for joining us. It was a joy to have you. I always, as you know, love improvising with you. You're one of my favorite people on the friggin' planet. Can't wait to hang out when I'm back in LA.
Oh, I can't wait. Thank you, Val. This was so much fun. I really loved it.
Yes, and thank you, Val. Thank you for your suggestion, and thank you for your technical support as always. We are now back-to-back episodes where I thought my microphone wasn't going to work, and ultimately that was true. But luckily, Val's here to guide us through the darkness. One final thing before I go. We don't have ticket links yet for either of these shows, but coming up in September, I have 2 live improv shows in September. First, of course, Wednesday, September 27th, 7 p.m. at the Yard Theater. It's once a month. It's every month. It's every last Wednesday of the month. It is the return of Cam and Trent's family reunion, where I will be joined, as always. Thank you, William. I will be joined, as always, by former guest of the show, Cam Hurt, and 2 former guests of this show, CG Farmer and John Del Vicio, will also be doing improv on that show. And 2 former guests of this show, John Randall and Damon Roycer, will also be doing stand-up on that show. A lot of I Love Improv with Trent Dozier influence on September's version of the family reunion. So if you're in LA, check that out. Hopefully I'll have a ticket link next time this show comes around. And then finally, I the second edition of this new show that I'm doing. It's called Deuces Wild. It's a two-prov show. And actually, the first person who was my two-prov guest on that show was one William Woods.
Woo!
And it got me all jacked up to play with
Wow.
Will more. So that's going to be on Monday, September 11th at 8 p.m. at the Clubhouse, also in LA. Hopefully we'll have another great lineup of improvisers there. It's an all two-prov show. Very quick, just an hour of improv in and out. But it's great, super fun. And another opportunity if you want to see live improv and want to see some of the best live performers in the world. So go check that out. I will also be on the show. All right, that's enough of this. William, thank you once again. Val, thank you as always. Val, thank you for the suggestion. Thanks to everybody who tuned in live or is watching the replay later on YouTube or is listening to the podcast later. However you are choosing to intake improv in this show, doesn't matter to me. Just happy that you're doing it. And finally, above all else, please remember the core tenet of this show, whether it's online or in your earbuds, whether you're watching, whether you're listening, never forget that Trent Dozier, host of I Love Improv with Trent Dozier, baby, he loves